David Gura.
Yes.
What do you Google?
That's a great question. We just did sports. I Google sports scores if I don't watch the end of a game. Recipes. If I'm traveling, I'll Google best hotel or restaurant in a given city. Very practical.
I feel like your Google is very, very practical. Mine is a little chaotic, but yes.
Okay.
All right. Well, Simon Rogers has written a book.
I feel like I have to beg an answer. I have to ask you a follow-up on that. A little chaotic how?
You know me. My brain is just as chaotic. It's things that I should know, but I'm not sure about. I check on maps.
More of a life guide for you.
There's a lot of where am I in New York's happening right now, but we'll move on from
Sorry to interrupt.
All right. So my friend Simon Rogers has written a book on exactly that. He's Google's data editor, and before that, he was the data guy at Twitter. He's also the winner of one of the most amazingly hyper-niche awards I've ever heard of, which is the Royal Statistical Society's Award for Statistical Excellence in Journalism. Simon, you giant nerd. It's so nice to see you.
I feel such a nerd today. Thank you for having me.
The book is What We Ask Google. Let's start with the question that Christina posed to me as she hoists it up here. Broadly speaking, what are the bulk of queries about on the search engine?
So the bulk of queries are really about the everyday stuff. I mean, I think we tend to focus on the big news events, which makes sense. When something happens, we want to understand it. But really, for most of us, it's just getting through the day. It's parenting. It's like pets, food, health, grief, these kind of big moments. And I've not seen a kind of real exploration of that everyday nature of search. So that's what I wanted to look at.
It's really fun, and you break it down into different sections, and there is so much data in here. I understand why you won that award. Your very first chapter is called Why Am I So Tired?, which I think is the refrain of modern adulthood. But a lot of it, surprised me, is about time. People search, like, what time is it? They search, around 2 a.m. you say you see a spike in parents searching for how to get their kids to sleep. Why do we have daylight savings time? Why do we have leap year? And then what time is it in Ukraine spiked around the invasion?
Yeah, exactly. It's a real mix of the everyday. So, you can't get your babe sleep around 2 a.m. You're not alone. You're sharing it with millions of people around the world. And also there is a kind of rhythm to the way that we search, and it applies during the year as well. So people search for how to play piano in December, ahead of Christmas, right? And right now people are searching for graduation. A month ago it was prom. A month before that it was promposals. And that's a global search now. That's one of these things which, I grew up in England, did not grow up with proms, and now it's a global thing. So you see these searches kind of spread around the world.
Could you talk a bit about your approach to the job? So look, I search on Google, and it auto-populates it sometimes, what other people are asking questions of. But when you're faced with this gigantic, doesn't even do it justice, trove of data, how do you begin to piece through? What are you looking for? What are you hoping to glean from all that you can aggregate from our use of it?
I mean, for me, I'm really interested in the humanity behind the searches. So, for instance, whenever there's a hurricane, you'd expect people to be searching for battening down the hatches and, buying emergency supplies, but people also search for how to calm a dog in a storm. Which I love that search. Yeah, I mean, it's very human, right? And I think that there is a kind of humanity which comes across searches which maybe we're lacking a little bit in the way we think about each other, but actually you can really see it come through. Like, searches for help are higher now than ever before, and they're often about helping other people.
I thought that was so interesting because the premise of this seems like nightmare fuel. There's a UK game show called Taskmaster, and they recently had a challenge where contestants had to do a really scary thing, and the guy who won let them read his search history live on the show. Because it seems like it could bring out the worst in us. But to your point, there's some really cute and kind of reaffirming moments. One of them is in June. People search like how to save a bee because bees are out and they want to rescue them, which I thought was really cute. But talk to us about some of the other things that, as you're looking through this data, made you find commonalities, not things that separate us.
Yeah, I mean, I knew I wanted to write the book, and I started doing it a couple of months after my mum had died. And, anybody who's joined that club, you feel incredibly alone. You're the only person this has ever happened to. And when you start looking at the data, you realize that not only are you not the only person this ever happened to, there are lots of people in the same situation, but people are also searching for how to help others in that situation, like the right thing to say or the right bit of poetry to read or whatever it is. And that kind of gave me a couple of themes of the book, really, because this idea that you're not alone, even if you feel lonely, you're one of a community of people who are doing similar things, whether or not you know it, and also that other people are trying to help you, which is kind of reassuring and reaffirming. And also, really, that we know nothing. That everyday life, whether it's how to boil an egg or how to tie a tie, these things, and we're not ashamed to ask for it.
How is your life being transformed by AI and the way that people are using it to ask some of these questions? And I think about the rigor of thinking. I think a criticism of AI is somebody might search a query like you just asked, what time is it someplace? And this is something that we could answer very basically if we obtained a wristwatch or looked at the clock across the room. And it's using all of this computing power to find this very basic question. I'm curious how you think about that, just the way in which we're using search and how that's kind of transforming our approach to finding out what in some cases is very basic information.
Yeah, my favorite is how to tell the time drunk, which is most searched in London, which is no surprise.
Sure.
There is a change and a revolution happening in the way people search. We had some data out this week around the way that people search with AI mode in Google, which is we've had for a year now. So obviously we've got over 20 years of regular search history, and now we've got a year of AI search history. So it's really early days, but what you're seeing is that queries are getting longer. They're much more specific now than they used to be. So you'll see a car in a movie, and you want to know what brand it is, or you'll hear a song and you want to know what instrument they played on it. And they're much more conversational. So people will go back and forth and kind of return to it because...
That's so interesting to me, because as a kid who grew up in the 2000s, there was this thing called Ask Jeeves, where you could, before people knew how to query, you could put, what is, blank, and it would find it to you in Google search terms. We're so primed to just enter keywords. It's interesting to me now that we're going back to searching in natural language models.
It's a whole new set of skills, isn't it? And I think it's basically, people are just asking how they want to ask. So me and my son, we're doing up an old BMW at the moment, stupidly complicated, and so we're doing a lot of these very kind of weird diagnostic things where we'll come back and we'll go back to it. So you're really seeing it in that way, and also searches are becoming much more kind of multimodal, and by that you mean that people are searching not just on the phone or on a laptop, but they're searching with a voice or a home device. But my sense is, and it's early, is that the things we're searching for are staying the same. We're still searching for love and relationships and health and hope and that sort of thing.
It dawned on me. I liked towards the end, you end on a nice note, and you have a graph that shows the number of people searching for a job that makes money and the number of people searching for a job that helps people. And over time, the line for helping people far surpasses the one for people wanting to make money. Why do you think that is, and what's your biggest takeaway?
I mean, I think you're seeing these social changes happening. And you can see the data through search. So, for instance, searches for take care of parents have overtaken searches for take care of kids. We're the sandwich generation, maybe you're looking after parents and looking after children. And a lot of these kind of big social trends you can see showing up in search.
Simon, thank you so much. The book is What We Google. Thank you for coming in. And
Thanks,
if you need to feel better about humanity, I highly endorse it. All right, for more reviews and recommended books, please sure to subscribe to the new Bloomberg Weekend newsletter on books. You can sign up at bloomberg.com/newsletters.